It's about time we speed through some quests and diaries to pump out another surge of early to mid game progress on the Ironman. We're always gathering as many items wherever we go and chipping away at skills so that we can complete multiple tasks in parallel and try more effectively progress through the early mid game. Last episode, we made a lot of progress training up our magic, which will unlock a huge amount of teleports, making traveling around the map a lot easier for us to pump out some quests today. Before we get stuck into it, how many quest points or achievement diaries have you completed? Let me know in the comments below. Picking up where we left off, we've got a couple thousand current binding now, which will be plenty to last us for quite a while. We're going to quickly head back to Camelot just to dump a few things out of our inventory and then get on with the questing and diaries. Okay, we've dropped off the bits and pieces we don't need, so we can head over to Polnivnich now via a house teleport. We're going to run over to Uza and start up the Golem quest. That's why we've brought the soft clay with us. We're going to progress through with the quest until we have to go and visit the dig site, including picking up a couple of black mushrooms for this and the subsequent Shadows of the Storm quest. Head upstairs and cut some teaks for the diary. That's our first diary task complete for the video. Not really sure why the first teak log didn't give us the task, but we got it sorted out. Our brief trip to the desert done, it's back to Camelot to continue with Merlin's crystal. But a quick trip to the bank to grab our Tome of Fire. It's finally time to put this bad boy to use. I've never actually used one of these in my life, so this will be fun. Oof, what an opening shot. Max hit for Firebolt is normally 12, so that's our Tome of Fire in action straight away there. Beautiful. I had bought a whole bunch of extra food for the Sir Mordred fight. I thought it was going to be a bit more spooky than it was, but we crushed it pretty easily in the end. So we've progressed Merlin's crystal until the point where we have to visit the Lady of the Lake in Tavali. While we're here at the candle shop, we're going to grab ourselves a couple of normal candles. They're for future quests, but also happen to be a sneaky little diary task. Then head over to the fishing shop and grab a big net, and fish a couple of cods for the Pirate's Recipe for Disaster section, a spare one in case we burn it, and then a raw mackerel for the diary and a bass as well. It took me a damn while to get the cod, I don't know why. I went through a couple of inventories of fishing trying to get it, but we got there. The bass we have to cook to finish off the diary task. Then we're going to speak with Caleb, and we've got all the fish in our bank already from Wintertodd and other places, so we're going to progress his Step of the Family Crest quest up until the point where we have to go visit Ivan in Al Kharid. Going to quickly run back and kill a couple of bats. I should have done this when I was fighting Sir Mordred, but I just completely forgot. We need a couple of bat bones for Merlin's crystal itself, and then also Watchtower quest, and of course the bat wing for the Rag and Bowman quest as well. Last quick thing before we leave Camelot, just grab ourselves a plant pack from Vanessa's farming shop, and now it's off to Varrock. We're going to head to Varrock using the Chronicle, that way we can swing by the Champions Guild, which is a diary task in itself. And then also while we're here, we're going to buy a rune short sword, green d'hide chaps and green d'hide fan braces. Since we've gone the black arm gang route for Shield of Arrav, we're also going to grab ourselves some black plate legs and a black forehelm, which we'll need for Heroes quest later on. Last but not least, we're going to chat with the Guildmaster and start up Dragon Slayer 1. I tell you what, it brings back some childhood memories. It was a real big day when you could finally walk through that Champion Guild door. We're going to knock out Shield of Arrav now. You have to have a partner, so you could do it with an altar count if you really wanted to. But for those of you who aren't aware, you can actually join this clan chat called OSRS SOA. And in here, people will always be waiting around looking for partners for Shield of Arrav or Heroes quests. So make sure to make use of that if you need to. It's always been active whenever I've tried to use it. Hey, there we go, just like that. Mr. Wiseass is going to be our friend and buddy today, so we're going to jump over to his world and meet up to do the quest. Oh, there he goes, Mr. Wiseass running on by. Our buddy has given us the weapon storeroom key, time to hold up our end of the bargain and blast this weapon master. Grab some crossbows. We're just exchanging our certificates now with our buddy. Thank you, Mr. Wiseass, you will forever be remembered in the memory of JuicyBeet. And quest complete. So we've made progress on a few quests already, but this is the first one we've technically finished this episode, so mark it off. That's one down. Next on the to-do list, we're going to swing by Blue Moon Inn and learn how to make a delicious steak sandwich for below Ice Mountain. Buy ourselves a priest gown, both the bottom and the top, a brown apron and a pink skirt from Thalissa. Diary task just for browsing her store. Do a lap of the Varrock rooftop agility course. Then grab ourselves a black plate body from Horvik to complete our black armor set. Let's put our new cooking expertise to use and make a steak sandwich real quick and just toss it in the bank for now. Then we're going to grab ourselves a rotten tomato for Recipe for Disaster, and to wrap up, buy a newspaper and steal a cup of tea for a couple more diary tasks. Nothing better than a good cup of tea indeed, amen. Speaking of which, if you enjoy a good cuppa, or more importantly smashing out quests and diaries in RuneScape, then drop a like to support the video, it really helps me out. We're suited up for the next stage of questing, but one quick correction. As much as I do love a good cuppa, we kind of need that for the quest, so we're going to steal another one. Then we're going to wander over to the dig site, start up the dig site quest, and progress with the Golem. If you were smarter than me, you would do the golem step first, that way you don't have to run back and forth multiple times, but is what it is. After finishing our steps at the dig site, we're going to continue east to progress Priest in Peril. Sorry buddy, Jagex made me do it, I didn't want to. Then teleport back to Varrock, speak with King Roll to continue with the quest, then visit the curator up at the museum to progress again both dig site and the golem, and then we're going to finish and wrap up the dig site completely. Another quest down. Very nice experience boost there, especially in mining, 32 mining off the back of that. Wait, hold up everyone. You see those certificates in my inventory that we got during the dig site quest? Yeah, don't throw those out when you get them. Don't be an idiot like me. It'll make sense in a moment, you'll see. So while doing fishing trawler, I mentioned you can get polished buttons, which you need for animal magnetism. This is another opportunity digging at the dig site to get them if you haven't got them previously, so keep that in mind. Time for another change of scenery, back over to Camelot's side to do Elemental Workshop 1 real quick. While we're here, we're going to kill a couple of extra earth elementals for a few more ore, just so we have them for Elemental Workshop Part 2, with a spare one to make the mine shield as well. And that's Elemental Workshop complete. We're bouncing back and forth like a yo-yo here, hope you're not getting dizzy, but it's back to Varrock again. And we're going to just quickly move our player-owned house up to Relica at the estate agent. Then I'm going to cut up a few jades for future use, in particular making some necklaces of passage. You can get these from the museum when cleaning finds, which we're about to do, but since I had a whole heap left over from Tempros, I figured I'd just cut a couple of these ones for now. As I was just saying, we need to clean some finds at the Varrock Museum. So we need to do this for a couple of reasons. One, to build up Kudos, which is a requirement for Bon Voyage. These will give us 50 Kudos. All we have to do is find the little trinkets and then hand them into the museum. And then the other important reason is to unlock the dig site pendant, which is probably one of the most useful teleport items in the game for any account, not just an Ironman. The dig site pendant is just an enchanted ruby necklace, but you can't actually use it until you find the specific item here in the museum. The pendant is great because it gives us a few different teleports straight to Fossil Island, which is incredibly useful for a few activities including birdhouse runs, farming seaweeds, and slaying rune dragons after Dragon Slayer 2. It's a very straightforward process to unlock. It's only 1 in 51, although it's taken me hours in the past, so I thought it was a lot rarer than that. I was pretty excited when I got it in one inventory here, but that's alright, we'll take it anyway. So yeah, that went a lot quicker than I expected, but that's good. Finished knocking out the 50 Kudos from all the items that we have to hand in there, then headed downstairs and did the museum quiz to get some starting Hunter and Slayer XP. It was at this moment I realized I'd made a big boo-boo. You know that certificate I mentioned a few minutes ago from the dig site quest? Well, if you trade it in at the museum, you can get a fruit blast for free, which is incredibly useful because it's a quest item for the recipe for disaster. Now me, being the doofus that I was, had dropped that certificate thinking it was a wasteful item after the quest and I didn't need it anymore, so we are going to have to go get a fruit blast the old-fashioned way and make it ourselves. So this is the real Ironman experience. You gotta mix your own drinks. Anyway, with that little detour out of the way, let's get back to it. Yeah, it wouldn't be a RuneScape progress video if there wasn't a bit of skilling thrown in the mix, but this is for a very specific purpose in mind. We're going to make ourselves some rings of dueling and necklaces of passage for teleports around the game. The Ring of Dueling, of course, is a traditional teleport close to a bank at Castle Wars, and these days Ferox Enclave as well. It will pretty much be our go-to teleport for the foreseeable future until we get to 99 farming or crafting for those guild teleports. Like any good YouTuber, missed level 30 crafting, 31 crafting, 32, and 33. So with that, we pretty much knocked out all the gold bars and that we had lying around for the Rings of Dueling. I only made a handful of necklaces of passage, we don't need anywhere near as many as the Rings of Dueling. With that out of the way, we can get back to questing now. Our next stop is heading down to Lumbridge. Believe it or not, we haven't actually done Cook's Assistant yet, so we can check that off the list now, and then we're going to go straight into starting up Recipe for Disaster. That's the first part of Recipe for Disaster, the Cook's Help part done. Man, that's quite the feed they've got there. It'd be nice if they shared it with us a little bit. Right, we're going to knock out a few RFD steps straight away, so we'll start with the Goblin Generals. It looks almost as bad as the aftermath of my kitchen when I try to do some cooking. Oh, diary task for teleporting to Lumbridge. I forgot about that. I've been using home teleport this whole time. RFD Goblin complete. Next on the hit list is the Dwarf. You know, it's a pretty common theme that we go around getting people drunk to just give us the informational items that we need in these quests. Are we a bad person? Well, it's an effective method, so we're going to keep doing it anyway. We got our Dwarven Rock Cake. It's a good idea to get a second one, even for your own use in Nightmare Zone sometimes, but I didn't end up doing that this time. I'll come back in the future if I need it anyway. And that's RFD Dwarf complete. Third on the list, we're going to start up the Pirates one. We don't have the crafting level yet to finish this, so we'll get back to it in a little bit, but just start it while we're here. Then we're going to head downstairs and a quick little shopping trip, grab ourselves a couple of spice, 3 pots of flour, 2 buckets of milk, 2 eggs from the RFD chest. Then we're going to whip ourselves up a red berry pie and some bread dough and head upstairs and cook it. I had made the 2 pies in case I burnt one, but I realized after the fact that at level 45 I think it is, you stop burning them on ranges, so that was unnecessary. And cooking the bread was for the diary task, so that's another diary task complete. Last thing on our little Master Chef run is a couple of nettle teas, 4 Ghosts Ahoy quests, and also skipping the Mogres mini quest. Okay then, all that cooking has built up a bit of an appetite for some murder, so we're going to stab a bunch of goblins. We need a heap of bones for Demon Slayer as well as the Goblin Skull for the Rag and Bone Man quest, so we'll grab that while we're here. Going to grab 20 regular bones from the goblins. Oh, a bronze spear as well, that's worth hanging on to. Can either use it for Tybo 1 Trio quest or also making scarecrows when we do some farming, so definitely grab those if you come across them. Then just killed a few cows as well to continue the bone count, and also we need about 3 or so leathers later on for quest. Just banking at castle walls as I go along, which is why we made those rings of dueling earlier. Okay, that's all the murdering done, time for a change of scenery, so let's head to Relica, somewhere completely new we haven't been before. That's why we set the house teleport there earlier on, that's our best way of getting there. Don't ask me why I keep teleporting inside the house rather than outside. You can right click on the spell and go straight outside, but it's just a habit to go inside. I don't know what I was doing. Inventory is pretty self-explanatory, that's just a regular beer by the way. We're going to start the first couple steps of Fremennik trials based on the wiki order, so speaking to Manny first and then Olaf who will send us to collect the lyre. Head out into the woods to chop and burn an oak log for another diary task. Have a quick chat with Lally for Fremennik trials while we're here. Then hunt down a unicorn just south of Lally for the unicorn horn for Ratcatcher's quest and the bone for Rag and Bone Man. Heading into the mountains next to start up Mountain Daughter because we can multi-quest some of the steps with Fremennik trials as we run back and forth. So on our way back into town, that's when we chat to Spitty for Mountain Daughter. Then when we're back in town, speak to Askeladdin for Fremennik trials, head up to Brunt for Mountain Daughter, and grab the cabbage, potato, and onion to take back to Lally to get the golden fleece again for Fremennik trials. Okay, golden fleece acquired, now it's back up the mountain to continue with Mountain Daughter. You can see why we're doing these quests together now. Okay, so we've progressed Mountain Daughter to the point where we have to leave this area and go back to White Wolf Mountain. But guess what? We're still not done here. This time, we're going inside the mountain. In here, we're just going to start up the Giant Dwarf quest for now, up until the point where we again have to leave the area and go visit Thurgo down near Mudskipper Point. While doing the quest, we also completed that easy diary task, which was just to browse the stonemason store. We're also just going to quickly steal from the crafting or baker's store for the diary while we're here. If we had 75 thieving, we could have stole from the gem store, but we didn't end up training that far, so we'll come back and do that some other time. And a quick shopping trip just to grab some pickaxes, so we'll grab ourselves an Addy and rune pickaxe as well. Okay, and now back to Falador. We're going to play a bit of rock, paper, scissors with Burnt Off to progress below Ice Mountain, pickpocket a guard to get another diary task done, then chat with the estate agent and move our play-owned house to Tavily. Because we don't have scrolls of redirect yet for teleport tabs, it's just a handy little way to get around to some extra places, like we did with Relica earlier. Then we're going to swing by Wyson and grab 8 woad leaves so that we can make some more blue dye for quests, namely Ghost Ahoy and Morning's End, and then do a lap of the rooftop course for the diary task. We've come full circle now from the start of the episode back into the desert, making use of the necklace of passage we crafted earlier to get directly here. So while we're here, we're going to catch a golden warbler for the diary task, eventually, grab the phoenix feather for the golem, and also happens to be a diary task, and then head down and finish up the golem quest, another quest complete. Make sure to grab the gems from the throne while you're doing the quest, no reason not to get them. Make a return trip to the Eagle's Eye because I'm a dingus and completely forgot to mine the clay while I was there. That's another diary task and we'll need the clay for future use. Thank goodness for that necklace of passage. Next stop is Tavily, using that house teleport we set up earlier. Man, what are the odds? JuicyBeet and Juicy Fruits. So while we're here, we're going to run up White Wolf Mountain and grab the white pear for Mountain Daughter. This is why I'm always wearing leather gloves like I mentioned earlier in the video. You need them every now and again and it just saves you having to remember to put them on. Using our house teleport to get back down the mountain, we're going to talk to the Lady of the Lake to progress Merlin's crystal, chop and burn a willow tree for yet another diary task, then swing by Doric's place to smith some blue-right limbs for, you guessed it, another diary task. After this, I was meant to run up to the Chaos Temple and telegrab a wine of Zamorak for, again, another diary task, but I got sidetracked by the mysterious old man and just completely forgot to do it. Not a big deal, we'll come back eventually to do it anyway. Moving on, we'll quickly swing by the bank and turn those clays we just mined into soft clay, and then putting our necklace of passage to use again, we're going to teleport down to the Wizard's Tower, give all our bones to Wizard Trayborn for the Demon Slayer and get the key, and then also finish Rune Mysteries downstairs while we're here, and teleport to the Runescence Mine for a diary task. After that, we're going to head back out towards Draenor Village and start up the Lost City quest. Then we're going to continue with Prince Ali Rescue until we have the key imprint ready to go. While we were speaking to Aggie for Prince Ali Rescue for the skin paste, we also turned those woad leaves we picked up earlier into 4 blue dye. And of course, one more diary task while we're here, quickly pickpocketing the Master Gardener. It's not quite farming time yet, but we're going to take some of those compostable items we picked up in a previous video and just dump them in the Falador compost bin to start rotting away. Swing by Veos and grab those XP lamps we destroyed all the way back in episode 1 from X marks the spot. Now that we've unlocked Herblore, we can use it. And then swing over to Port Piscarillis and grab the one from Client of Krend as well. And then dump it all into Herblore. Then we're going to swing by the jewelry store and give the bread to the beggar for Merlin's crystal. Then we're going to head down to Thurgo to progress Giant Dwarf and finish off the quest. And then of course straight into Forgettable Tale from the same NPC that you finish off Giant Dwarf at. And what random item do we need? Oh, broken glass. Perfect. That's nice and easy. We've already got that in the bank. Pleasure doing business with you. And a quick little minecart trip to go and grab seed number 3. Then a trip to the wilderness, only for a second though, just to start off Major Zamorak. Back to Varrock to work on Demon Slayer next. Ooh, doggo, here, have a bone. The diary said I have to do it. This has got to be the most scuffed Delrith kill you'll ever see. The Dark Mages kept jumping on me, so I had to go in and out of the instance and poke him down slowly bit by bit. Got it eventually though, another quest complete. Just gonna have a quick chat with the Major Zamorak to progress Enter the Abyss, and also check the inscription on his altar while we're here for Merlin's crystal. Another little shopping trip just to grab ourselves some range armor, the studded body chaps, also an iron chain body, a couple of steel chain bodies, steel plate body, mithril plate body. And we're also going to whip up 7 bronze wires while we're here for a bunch of quest requirements. Then swinging across the road to grab ourselves an oak longbow, willow shortbow, and a few hundred mithril arrows to go with it. We're going to do another little POH teleport swap back to Polnivneach, and then pop into the museum to tell a few stories to historian Minas to get some more kudos and an XP lamp which we can throw onto Herblore. And with that, we now have 100 kudos, which means we can start at Bon Voyage and begin working towards our birdhouses. I think we made a lot of good progress today, so please drop a like to support the video and a subscribe if you want to follow along into the future. For now, I'll be saying Bon Voyage to all of you. Check out the previous episode on screen, and until next time, have a good one guys. See ya!